Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto Awekend 2 Bloodline in Chunnin exam and got Harem with Ino Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Noon at Konoha. It was October 10th, a special day in particular. It was Uzumaki Naruto's 16th birthday, and him and Sakura were walking out of Ichiraku Ramen. After a nice lunch, Tsunade had given Naruto the day off from missions, and he asked Sakura if she had wanted to join. She didn't want to say no to him on his birthday, so she went along. Later, Naruto waved to Tsuki and his daughter Ayame as they exited the ramen stand. "Happy birthday Naruto," Ayame said. "Thanks," Naruto replied, before turning back around and walking with Sakura again. "So, Naruto, why did you only eat one bowl this time? Don't you usually scarf like 4 or 5? Sakura giggled. "Hey, it's 2 or 3 maybe 4, and besides, there's that festival tonight anyways, so I'm saving room for the food then," Naruto said, patting his stomach, "and I didn't want to look like pig in front of you." "Really?" Sakura asked, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah, you either yell or hit me for it, so it means you don't like it," Naruto chuckled, scratching the back of his head. "True," Sakura said, holding her arms behind her back, and she continued forward. "So birthday boy, what do you want to do next?" Naruto stopped in his tracks and looked at Sakura, and she stopped and turned around. "What?" she asked. "Did you seriously just basically say you want to stay?" Naruto asked. Sakura blushed and looked away before frowning. "PFFT, it's not like a date or anything. It's not that, it's the fact you usually want to get away from me as fast as possible," Naruto said, getting quieter as he said it. "Well, you've gotten more mature, to a level one can tolerate, I guess," Sakura said. "Good, because I'm only trying to be nice to ya," Naruto said, perking back up. "Well, it is the thought that counts, but you need to work on your actions," Sakura said. "Well, if it'll get you to like me more then I'll do it," Naruto grinned. They continued down the street a little when Naruto saw something red float to the ground in front of him, and he walked up to it and noticed it was red feather. "What's this?" Naruto asked, picking up the feather. "It's a feather, but I've never seen or heard of bird with a shade of red like that before," Sakura said. "Must be a novelty thingy. Here," Naruto said, sliding the feather over her left ear and under her hair. "It looks good on you," he said. Sakura blushed and ran her fingers around it. "Thanks," she said. "It is pretty, isn't it?" "Ah, that's so precious. You're bonding finally," Kakashi said as he appeared next to them out of nowhere. "Ah!" Sakura shrieked. "Kakashi-sensei, what's wrong with you?" "Sorry. Did I scare you?" Kakashi chuckled. "You startled me. Can't you walk up like a normal person?" Sakura huffed. "Oh, you're just embarrassed because I caught you two in a moment," Kakashi said, "but enough jokes, I'm here to give Naruto his present, or take him to it as it would be." "Really?" Naruto beamed. "Whatcha get me, sensei?" Naruto grabbed Kakashi's jacket. "Ooh, calm down now," Kakashi said. "Are you gonna teach me the Chidori?" Naruto asked. Kakashi. No. Naruto. "Did you get me a pact of my own summoning dogs?" Kakashi. "No. Naruto. Are you gonna bump me up to Chunnin rank finally?" Kakashi. "No. Ah, then I don't wanna go." Naruto huffed. "Naruto, this is one of those things I hate about you," Sakura said. "Oh, then let's go," Naruto said with new interest. "That's better," Sakura said. "Good, because I hate it when he whines too," Kakashi chuckled, "and you two bonding actually works into this, so you should come too, Sakura." "Me? Why?" Sakura asked. "You'll see," Kakashi said, putting his hands on their shoulders, and they vanished in a cloud of smoke, but just as they did another red feather drifted down and landed on the ground where they once stood. Kakashi appeared in Tsunade's office with his 2 students. Jiraiya was leaning against the wall next to the window. "Hey there boy," he said. "Aro Sennin, what are you doing here?" Naruto asked. Happy birthday Naruto, Tsunade said. Hey. So Granny, why am I here? A mission? Naruto asked. No. It's not a mission, but a major step in your life, Tsunade said. Jiraiya pulled out 3 scrolls, 2 fairly big ones and a smaller one. He tossed the smallest one to Naruto. I was supposed to give you that on your 16th birthday, in other words, today, he said. What is it? Naruto asked. Something your mother and father wrote for you, Jiraiya said. Read it Naruto, Sakura said. Naruto unraveled the scroll and read its contents out loud. Naruto, you are the son of the 4th Hokage, and have been chosen to seal the Kyuubi. We can only hope you are regarded as the hero your father asked. In your blood flows the Kekkei Genkai of both the Namikaze and the Uzumaki heritages are yours. These powers are as such: Namikaze, the Dujutsu, Shintengen, the eyes of heaven and hell, which can see souls and spirits, both holy and demonic, and command them. Uzumaki, the ability to control the oceans themselves. We hope that with the other scrolls you'll learn how to control these abilities and become a fine ninja. Naruto has 2 bloodlines. And Kyuubi? Sakura asked. Yes. Jiraiya said. How come my Dujutsu never activated or something like that? Naruto asked. It's not like the Sharingan, which is brought on by stress and trauma of battle. You need to know how to use it before it will even appear. Jiraiya said. That's what this is for, he said, tossing Naruto one of the bigger scrolls. Naruto put the letter from his parents down and unraveled the larger scroll, seeing a drawing of what the Dujutsu looks like. It made the irises dark blue, and the pupils were diamonds, with 4 smaller diamonds around them pointing inwards. So now what exactly can this do? Naruto asked. All you have to do is read a little, but I'll explain it anyways, Jiraiya said. The Shintengen allows you to see the souls of the departed, demons etc., and use their energy for various abilities. It can also command the spirits, bring them to the physical plane to fight alongside you. You can communicate with them, and if you reach the highest level of skill with it, you may even be able to rip the soul out of a living being. Your father never was able to master that technique before he died, which is why he relied on Shinigami, another ability he was able to devise due to the Shintengen. Wow. Naruto and Sakura said. And the Uzumaki bloodline from your mother allows you to control the seas and manipulate them. It's more straightforward than your other one, but just as complex to learn, Jiraiya said. So basically I'm like the god of the sea, right? Naruto asked. If you want to put it like that, yes, your mother said. One with the sea, Jiraiya explained. And now on to you Sakura, Kakashi said. In all aspects Naruto can have 4 wives, because if there's one member left of a clan he can have 2 brides to rebuild it, and Naruto has 2 clans in him. Sakura's jaw dropped. You want me to politically marry him? She asked. Well, it's totally optional Sakura, Tsunade said. It's not like we're forcing it on you. Naruto was blushing and fantasizing what it would be like to marry Sakura. But Sakura, if you would, it could bring back an entire clan, Tsunade said. You make it seem like I'm willing to pop out babies for Naruto, Sakura crossed her arms. You know you love him, Tsunade chuckled, and Sakura blushed. I doubt she'd ever want to. Don't pester her about it, Naruto said. I don't, Sakura said. Yet anyways, inner Sakura said. Well, we have things to set up for you Naruto, so you 2 may go until we call you back later, Tsunade said. Okay. Naruto said, rolling up the Shintengen scroll and grabbing the other big one. Sakura grabbed the smaller one for him, seeing how his hands were full now, and they exited the office. Sorry if that made you feel awkward Sakura-chan, Naruto said. It did, but it's not your fault, Sakura said. I just can't believe I have 2 bloodlines, Naruto said. I can't believe you can have 4 wives, Sakura said. 'Cause I want you all for myself. Inner Sakura blurted out. Back in the office. Oh, by the way, I found something that's pretty interesting on my way here today, Jiraiya said. What's that? Tsunade asked. This, Jiraiya said, pulling out a red feather from his jacket and putting it on Tsunade's desk. A red feather. I've never heard of a red bird other than the phoenix of legends, and phoenixes aren't real, Tsunade said, picking up the feather. I think I saw Sakura with one of these in her hair. I saw that too, so it leads me to believe it's some sort of novelty item from one of the stands from the festival that got lost or something, Jiraiya shrugged. But it doesn't feel fake. I'll have Shizune look into it, see if there's a stand that sells these, and go from there. Something's odd about this though, Tsunade said, staring at the feather. But onto Naruto's situation for now, Jiraiya said. The representative from Suna is coming and will be here by night. As for the others, I need you, Kakashi, to go get them, Tsunade said, handing him a paper that lists all the possible candidates. Go find them and tell them to meet me here by 19:00 hours. Yes, ma'am, Kakashi said before vanishing in a cloud of smoke. Well, I wonder if this will really be best for Naruto. He is stupid, you know, Jiraiya said. Not very optimistic of your student, are you? Tsunade said. Nope. Kid couldn't find his was out of a wet paper house in a hurricane. Jiraiya shrugged. It absolutely baffles me as to how Naruto is the son of the greatest ninja the Leaf's even seen, and yet it probably the worst it's seen. He's better than you give him credit for. He's creative, and never says die, and for him that's all that matters, Tsunade said. He's the only person I know that can survive simply because of that, Jiraiya said. What about Shikamaru for creativity? Tsunade asked. Never actually seen him do anything but sit there and complain, Jiraiya chuckled. Tsunade chuckled. That's right, you're never around for his stuff. A few hours later, Shizune walked into Tsunade's office as she was doing some of the dreaded paperwork. Tsunade-sama. I'm back from talking to all the festival stand owners and none of them have seen anything like this red feather, she said, putting the feather back on the desk. None of them know anything about this? Tsunade asked. Except for those who found some laying on the ground themselves, Shizune said, pulling out a bag and emptying 11 feathers out. What the hell are these? Tsunade pondered out loud, picking up a couple of them and examining them. Have the scientists and doctors examine these thoroughly, and tell them to find anything they can about these, the Hokage ordered. Hi. Shizune bowed before putting all the feathers back into the bag and exiting the office. Tsunade stared at the original feather. Something strange is going on. I have a feeling something bad may happen. I hope I'm wrong. It was about time for the festival. The shops were getting finished setting up, and everyone was in a hustle and bustle state. Naruto was in his apartment reading over his scrolls vigorously, rereading every little word and diagram to understand his bloodlines. His study was interrupted by a knock at the door, and he shot his head. Who is it, man? I'm busy, he said, standing up and walking over to the front door and opening it, seeing on the other side Sakura in a pink and red kimono with red roses and cherry blossoms on it. She had the feather he gave her in the same place Naruto put it, and he could see her long shiny right leg through an opening in the outfit. Naruto's eyes widened and he stared at Sakura with a red face. Stop staring, it's for the festival, Sakura said. I'm here to tell you Tsunade-sama wants to see you again. Granny wants to talk again. But I'm a little busy at the moment learning my bloodlines, Naruto said. You'll have time later. Come on, Sakura said. All right, Naruto said, slipping on his shoes and exiting his house. Naruto kept peeking over at Sakura and looking her over, and Sakura ignored it for a while, but after about 4 glances she turned to him. What? She asked. Sorry, you're just, really be beautiful, Naruto stammered, looking away with a blush. Sakura blushed and turned forward. Thanks. They didn't talk the rest of the way to the central tower, and when they got there they walked to the top floor and up to the office door. Sakura knocked. Tsunade Shisho, we're here, she said. Good, come in, Tsunade said. Naruto opened the door for Sakura. Ladies first, he grinned. Sakura smiled. That's right, she joked before going in, and Naruto followed her. The second they walked in they saw Kakashi, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Temari, Yamanaka Ino, and Hyuga Hinata, who had a fierce blush, mind you. Hey, What's up everyone? Why so many people here granny? Naruto asked. Well Temari and Hinata are here for the sake of the revival of both your clans, that is if they choose to, Tsunade said. What? Sakura snapped, before cupping her hands over her mouth. What's wrong Sakura? Jealous or something? Ino joked. Shut it pig. Why would I be jealous of you? And why would you even want to do something like this with Naruto anyway? Sakura said. Never said I did, Ino said. And what's the case with Temari? Sakura asked. I'm here for diplomatic purposes. If I marry Naruto, Suna and Konoha's relation grows stronger. Temari explained. I'm doing it for Gaara. He asked me to at least give it a try. Yes, and as of now you all are ordered to spend 1 week together in the same house, which we will supply to you, and work on your relationships. If you can make it work and are wanting to, you may marry Naruto, Tsunade said. Don't I get a say in this? Naruto asked. Nope kid, so just shut up and watch, Jiraiya said. Not one of you has an option for this. After the week if you decide to want to stay with him and vice versa you'll get married, but those who feel it want work can just leave after the week's up, Kakashi said. So we all have to live together in one house for a week to see if we want to marry Naruto? Sakura asked. Yep. Tsunade nodded, because we don't want to marry you to someone you can't stand now do we? We'll call this operation matchmaking. Ino turned to Hinata who was pushing her fingers together and blushing while looking at the floor. Why haven't you said anything Hinata? What are your feelings on this? She asked. Hinata snapped up and looked at Ino and then to Naruto. Me? Oh no, well. I can try it, she stammered with a small smile. Of course you will, you're the one that loves him right? Ino said. Hinata's eyes widened and her entire head went a deep shade of red. You do? Naruto asked scratching the back of his head, seriously. Naruto you baka how could you have never noticed it? Sakura said. Yeah the girl's like totally in love with you, right Hinata? Ino teased poking Hinata in the arm. The problem is, Hinata fainted right then and there before falling over with the force of the poke and hitting the ground. Hinata, Naruto said going over to her and lifting her upper body up. See, how do you not notice when a girl likes you, especially when she blushes, faints and hides behind things from her shyness when she sees you? Ino said. Ino. Sakura said. Don't be like that, remember, Naruto's an idiot. Wow you guys are just great people. Hinata collapses and you just stand there talking, Naruto said. This happens every time she comes within 3 feet of you. It's just this time it happened when we were talking about her feelings for you. It's obvious she digs you, though I don't know why, Ino said. Hinata fluttered her eyes open slowly and the first thing she saw was Naruto. Are you okay Hinata? He asked. Hinata just fainted again. Oh come on. Naruto said. Why don't you carry her to your new house for now? Kakashi will show you the way, Tsunade said. Okay. Naruto said. So why are there only 3 girls if there's the possibility one or more want to stay with him? Sakura said. Counting me there's 4 and that's the amount you want to achieve right? Yes, I was trying to keep them as close to his age as possible, and the ones he would know the best. I wanted Tenten here too, but she was out of town with her family on a vacation, Tsunade shrugged. Come on you guys I'll show you the way to the house, Kakashi said. Naruto picked Hinata's unconscious form up bridal style, with that the birthday boy and the girls exited the room behind Kakashi. He led them to the northwest part of town, through about 5 streets until he came to a large wood and brick 2-story house. Wow. Nice. I won't mind spending some unsupervised time here, Ino said. Party girl huh? Temari asked. I like you already. You know it, Ino said. They saw the front door open and 4 Chunnin walked out of the house. Hey what are they doing there? Naruto asked. They're moving all of your stuff here Naruto, and a few things from each of the girls' homes, Kakashi explained. So our parents are aware of this? Sakura asked. Of course, why wouldn't they be informed if their daughters were being set up for a possible marriage? Kakashi asked. Good point. Sakura said, was wondering where my mom was, guess she was being given the rundown on this. Let's go in already, I can carry Hinata for much longer Naruto said. Right, Kakashi said before leading them inside the house. As they walked towards and into the house, another red feather floated to the ground behind them. Tsunade walking into a lab-like room where there were 2 doctors and 3 scientists. One was examining the feather with a microscope, and other were writing down things. So what have you found out so far? Tsunade asked. Well, we haven't had enough time to get extensive with our search, but as of now we can't tell that they're anything but a red feather, and the color's not paint or artificial pigment of any kind, the man at the microscope said. There's something strange about these feather and I want to know what. Don't stop studying them and inform me of anything new you find, Tsunade said. Yes ma'am, they said. Naruto fluttered his eyes open in bed as light shined through the window of his new room. He yawned and stretched his arms, and in doing so bumped somebody to his right, and he turned to see Sakura laying there next to him. That bump woke her up and he turned her head to him. Naruto's eyes snapped wide open. Ah! He yelped, quickly cupping his hands over his mouth. What's wrong with you, Baka? Sakura asked. What did we do last night? Naruto yammered. We didn't do anything, you idiot. I don't have a bed yet and I'm not sleeping on the couch or the floor, Sakura said. I just slept in the same bed as you, not with you. We didn't get crazy drunk and have rough? Naruto asked. Sakura blushed ever so slightly, but her eye twitched and she backhanded him in face. No, how could you forget something that happened last night? We didn't have any alcohol either, she said, getting out of bed, and she was still wearing her kimono. Oh, that's right. And we didn't end up going to the festival, the blonde boy said. So, we didn't have, right? No, you idiot. Just be quiet or you'll wake them up. Sakura rolled her eyes and pointed her thumb behind herself, bring to Naruto's attention the living room, which was right out of Naruto's door, had Temari sleeping on a couch slumped over on the armrest. They saw Hinata laying on the ground with a rag on her head, and Ino, who was sitting on the floor but leaning up against the couch Temari was on, all dead asleep. Right, Naruto said before gesturing to zip his lips. Sakura's thoughts. Sakura turned and walked out of the bedroom into the living room and walked into the bathroom. She closed and locked the door before walking up to the mirror. She looked for a brush and saw one on a shelf, which she used to straighten her hair. She kept thinking about how Naruto thought they had. How do you forget something like that if you're not drunk? Then the curiosity gremlin in her kicked in, and she wondered what it would be like to have with him. Was he big and pleasure-filled? Maybe. Was he small and laughable? Hope not. Would she enjoy sucking on it? No. Would she enjoy having it slid inside of her, filling her entire womanhood? No. Would his juices be flavorful and rich? Who knows, damn it. Would it be sour? Sweet? Maybe milky? Milky as Nick. Stop. All of these thoughts were making her heat up between her legs. What's wrong? Inner Sakura blurted out. He's been your friend for so long. He's done more for you than Sasuke ever did. He can make you happy if you give him a chance. He'll even rock your world. I thought you were dead and gone by now. Sakura said in her head. I'll never be completely gone. I'm your subconscious. Inner Sakura said. But you know your curiosity and your make you want to try, right? I don't know. It's Naruto. He's an idiot. Take this morning for example, Sakura thought. Now you're just making excuses. Inner Sakura went silent. He's a lovable idiot. Wild and random thoughts of Naruto sliding his manhood into her, to licking her neck nipples, and clit, to him ramming her hard from behind with everything he had. She felt a drip of moisture slide down her inner right thigh and she put the brush down and gave in. She slid her kimono off of her back and slid her hand under her panties and started rubbing circles around her clit, and she let out a slight moan. Why am I doing this? Sakura thought, as images of Naruto coming up from behind her and rubbing her hot clit for her came to mind, and she grew even more heated. Naruto. She moaned in a whisper, her face turning red, and she grabbed the counter of the sink with her free hand for leverage, due to her legs getting weaker with pleasure. She parted her clit as best she could with her ring finger and her index finger before rubbing up and down the insides with her middle finger, and Naruto, she moaned a little louder. Her juices were dripping and falling down her leg, as her panties grew saturated in them, and she then thought of him continuing to rub her clit as he slid his erection into her from behind, and he started pumping while licking her neck. This thought pushed her to dive her middle finger deep into her and she began to finger herself. Naruto. Naruto, she moaned, growing slightly louder each time. It feels so good, Naruto, yes. She messaged her clit with her palm as she used its motions from fingering herself and she let go of the sink and started rubbing her left and pinching the nipple slightly. Naruto, Naruto, Naruto. She said loudly as her released its tingling sensation filling her body with pleasure. What? Naruto called from the other room. There's no toilet paper. Can you get me some please? She lied. Sure. She heard. The pink-haired Kunoichi pulled her finger out of her dripping and from her panties. She looked at her cum-soaked fingers and sucked them clean. I've never looked at Naruto that way before. Why did I do that? It's kind of embarrassing. Naruto knocked on the door. Sakura-chan, I have the toilet paper, he said. Sakura opened the door only enough to grab the roll and close the door. Thanks, she said. No problem, Naruto said walking away. Temari and Ino were awake and talking at the kitchen table while Sakura was cooking breakfast, and Naruto knelt down next to Hinata and shook her. Hinata, wake up, he said. She grumbled and stirred but didn't awaken. I can't believe she's been unconscious this whole time, Naruto said. Well, she was probably tired and it was kind of late when she fainted, Temari said. Naruto lightly slapped her cheek. Hinata, wake up please, he said, and her eyes fluttered open. Hinata's thoughts. Hinata stared into Naruto's deep sky blue eyes. She could say it was the worst thing to wake up to. They were peaceful, calm and kind. She blushed and tensed up. Are you okay, Hinata? Naruto asked. Hinata nodded, sitting up, and she rose to her feet before biting her right hand's index finger on the knuckle. Oh no. Hey Hinata, I'm sorry if we made you feel uncomfortable, Ino said. Yeah, but you do need to work on that shyness, Sakura said. If you wanna be Naruto's wife at least, she shrugged. Naruto-kun's, gulp, wife. Hinata stammered. Yeah, wouldn't you want that? Ino asked. Well, it's just, Hinata couldn't find the right thing to say. Be honest with yourself. That's what this week is supposed to be like, Temari said. It would be nice, but only if he wants to marry me. It seems like he's being forced into this, Hinata said. Naruto opened his mouth to talk but Ino spoke first. PFFT, what man wouldn't want 4 women to eternally satisfy him? It's like their ultimate dream. Naruto. But I don't care about say. Ino. I mean, a guy with 4 willing women is not only like finding an oasis in the desert, but once you find it, you're a kid in candy land. Naruto. I only want a serious relatio. Temari. And plus, it's not like there's any good men left on this planet. Naruto. Hinata. I care about love. Ino. So Hinata, are you gonna do it? Will you please stop interrupting me? Naruto said. Oh sorry cutie, what is it? Temari asked. Naruto blushed. I don't want just in a relationship. I only care about making a girl that accepts me happy, he said. AAAWWW, that's so sweet. Ino teased, but seriously, all you guys care about is getting some of this stuff right here, she said, spreading her legs and rubbing her crotch through her clothes, and groping her. Naruto felt a slight bulge go through his manhood, before looking away. If you'd give me a chance, I could make you happy, he said. Hinata stared at him, and smiled with a blush. She was really considering the marriage thing. Not only would she be married to the guy of her dreams, but she could raise a family with him. She felt excitement grow in her chest and she got a little giddy. But the young Hyuga heir couldn't expect her father to accept it. He hates Naruto for being the Jinchuriki, a concept she didn't know at a young age. Not to mention she would probably have a heart attack if he actually asked her to marry him. Hell, she was using all her willpower to keep from fainting again. No, don't faint. I have to be stronger. I've decided. I want to be with him, and I'll do what I can to get him to feel the same, she thought, before taking a slow deep breath and exhaling it out. She instantly felt a little better. She just had to stay calm, and think about how to react in a less shy way to him. Okay, breakfast is ready, Sakura said. Right on. I'm starving, Ino said. Oh, okay, Hinata said. Naruto walked up to Hinata's side and put his hand on her shoulder. She blushed and looked at him. Remember, Hinata, it's your choice. If you want, I'll be happy to marry you, he smiled. Hinata's heart skipped beat. Before it began beating erratically, could he really want to marry her? She hoped so. She wanted to make him happy. She never was able to think of a way to express her feeling because she couldn't even think of a way to not faint around him. It was embarrassing. Naruto continued to the table, and sat down. Hinata followed suit with a smile on her face and she sat down. Tsunade walked into the research lab and up to one of the scientists. Please tell me you found something out about these things, she said. Other than they're just feathers, we have nothing, the scientist said. There is nothing that indicates these are more than that. The worst case scenario I can think of is it was some endangered or species of bird a smuggler was trying to sneak through Konoha, but got free. Tsunade massaged her temples. Everything about me says there's something strange about these feathers. What about the books and documents? Did you find anything there? Tsunade asked. We've had our interns working all night, reading and searching through the books and scrolls and found nothing, the scientist explained. We know it's not a phoenix because those are fictionally impossible. You can't come back to life after dying, under your own power. This is not a phoenix, those are reborn from ashes, not feathers. We are not dealing with a mythical bird here, Tsunade said. Ma'am, with all due respect, we can't keep wasting research time and money, studying red feathers that have no indication of being any more than just that. Red feathers, not just on your hunch, he said. Tsunade sighed in defeat. Fine, never mind, do whatever with them, she said, walking out of the lab. I apologize, Tsunade-sama, he bowed. Tsunade walked down the halls and up the stairs. What are these feathers? I know nothing about them and can't learn anything about them, and it's kind of scaring me, she said to herself as she reached the top floor and went to her office. So, what do we do now? Ino asked, twiddling with her hair in boredom. They finished breakfast, but now they were all bored. Well, I had something planned. Don't know about you guys, Tamari said. What were you gonna do? Sakura asked. I'm going to spend a little one-on-one time, Naruto. Tamari said. So you're like totally willing for all of this? Ino asked. Well, I promised Gaara I'd give it a try, and if I decide I like him enough I'll marry him, Tamari explained, taking the last sip of her tea. Naruto walked out of the hot spring bath dressed and refreshed with a grin on his face. Wow, baths sure do feel great, he said, plopping down on the couch next to Hinata, who smiled and blushed slightly. So, what do you ladies want to do? He asked, staring off into space. Ooh, I know. Ino squealed. What is it, pig? Sakura asked. Let's get some alcohol. The blonde girl cheered. There's no parental supervision, so why not? Sakura raised an eyebrow and shrugged. Sure, I guess. That sound fun, but aren't you girls a bit too young to drink? Tamari teased. And you aren't? Ino asked. Nope. Tamari said. That's what makes it fun, she grinned. So Tamari's in. What about you two, Hinata? Naruto. Ino said. But won't we get into trouble? Hinata asked. No. Who's gonna catch us? This is our house for the week, Ino said. I don't know. Naruto said, crossing his arms. How would you even get it? Hinata asked, poking her fingers together. That's easy. My dad has alcohol up the wazoo, but he doesn't touch the stuff anymore, so I can dig into his stash without him ever knowing, Ino said. Oh, and I guess now's as good a time as any to point out this. Sakura said, digging in the cabinet and pulling out a bottle of sake. I think the people who lived here last had left it here. How old is it? Ino asked. Well, I can guarantee they haven't been gone for more than 3 weeks, This is still good, Sakura said. Well, Naruto, Hinata, are you gonna join us? Temari asked. Naruto looked at Hinata and back to them. I can try a little, he said. I'll have one, but that's it, Hinata said. Suit yourself, Sakura, Hinata, Temari, who wants to come with me to get the stuff from my house? Ino asked. I'll go, Sakura said. You wanna come, Hinata? Ino asked. We could use an extra pair of arms. Okay. Hinata nodded before standing up. Bye, Naruto-kun, she said. See you, Naruto said. You wanna come too, Temari? Sakura asked. No, I'll pass on carrying things for now, she smirked. Suit yourself, Ino said, and her and the other two girls exited the house. Well, I think I'll get to studying those scrolls a little more, Naruto said, standing up and walking towards the bedroom. Temari's thoughts. Temari watched him go in, and she grabbed the bottle of sake Sakura left there and filled up her teacup with it before downing it. She stood up and walked into the kitchen and looked around for a small snack, an old curse of hers. She always had munchies for a small snack after breakfast. She opened a cabinet and saw nearly nothing, but canned and preserved foods. Man, she sighed, there isn't anything here, we need to go shopping, she said to herself. The blonde Suna no Kunoichi was more than willing to try and make this work, but something about the other girls twinged her and she didn't know what. Could she be jealous? But for what reason? He can have 4 wives, not to mention she doesn't know him as well. Shikamaru, for example, that relationship was going nowhere fast, lazy bum. Naruto at least seemed willing and somewhat enthused about it. She couldn't say he wasn't cute and she knew he always meant well. Was it just sharing such a good guy annoying her though? If those others want to marry him they have the right to, but Ino doesn't seem to care, but Sakura and Hinata seem to want in on it. Sakura thinks no one heard her in the bathroom this morning. Temari decided it was time for that one-on-one bonding time with Naruto, and she walked into his room. Naruto sat on the bed looking over the Uzumaki Bloodline scroll. She sat next to him and looked at the scroll. So is that one of your bloodlines? Temari asked. Yep. To control the oceans like some sort of omnipotent god, Naruto chuckled. Temari chuckled. You wish you were a god, she said. Not really. Humans shouldn't have that much power. When they do, only bad things come of it, Naruto said seriously. So, you don't care for almighty power? Temari said. No. The only power I want is what it takes to become Hokage and protect this village and those I love, Naruto said enthusiastically. Who do you love, Naruto? I know you can't have feelings for all of us, maybe not even any of us for all I know. We've technically just become close friends at best, Temari said. Naruto blushed and he looked at the ceiling. I've always had a special place in my heart for Sakura-chan, he said. Would be happy if she decided to be one of your brides? Temari asked. Really happy? Naruto nodded. Would you be happy to be with Hinata? Temari asked. Yeah, she's a nice girl when she's not fainting. I used to think she was creepy when I was younger, but now I know she just liked me and was shy. I'm such an idiot. He chuckled. She always kind of seemed sad too. Well, maybe she was just a little lonely, Temari said. That's what I thought, and I wanted her to be happy, because I know what it's like to feel true sadness, so I went to go invite her to lunch with me one time and she fainted, so I took her to the hospital thinking she was sick, and when her father got there he yelled at me, hit me and told me never to come near his daughter again. He said it was my fault she collapsed. He said I was evil, Naruto said. I know evil. Gaara was unyielding hatred for all things. That's evil, but then he met you, the boy with the power to change people. I wonder if you'll pass that down to our kids, Temari winked. Wait, are you saying you want to marry me? Naruto asked. Maybe, Temari teased, crossing her sleek and slender yet toned legs, before grabbing his hand and putting it on her, and moving it for him with a smirk. Temari-chan. Naruto said. What's wrong? Don't you want to? She asked. Naruto gripped her and began moving under his own power and she let go. HHHMMM, she moaned, her face turning a light shade of red. Tamari reached her hand over and between his legs and started rubbing his crotch through his pants, and he was already getting hard. Naughty boy, she winked. Are you sure you want to be doing this already? Naruto asked. Tamari smirked. I'm just trying to bond with you on a physical level, she said, getting up and standing in front of him and pushing him to his back and pushing the scroll aside on the ground, and she unzipped his pants and pulled out his erecting, and stroked it softly. It grew rock hard, and was at least 6 inches long. She was impressed. Tamari smiled as Naruto moaned slightly to her touch, and she licked the tip teasingly 2 times, and he flexed his manhood in reaction. She then licked the tip again, before licking up the entire length. Ah, Tamari-chan, Naruto moaned. He wanted to resist, but her hands were so soft and her tongue was so warm. God, if he hadn't been trained by the world's biggest pervert, he would have been able to resist this. Just as Tamari was about to take his all the way into her mouth, the front door to the house opened and Sakura, Ino and Hinata walked in and had a straight view into the room. Tamari turned around and saw then, ah darn, she cursed with a smirk. Naruto's eyes widened and he covered himself up and blushed furiously, before zipping his pants back up. Sakura's face was filled with surprise and a twinge of anger. Ino's jaw dropped. Hinata had a saddened face, yet one of shock still. Geez, it's only the first day and we haven't even gotten drunk yet, Tamari, Ino said, and you were already giving him head. Well, actually I had 1 cup of sake, and I was just testing to see if we could enjoy each other physically, Tamari shrugged nonchalantly. Sure, whatever you say, Sakura growled, before kicking off her shoes and carrying the bag of bottles into the kitchen and putting them on the counter not too gently. Hinata turned away. I'm sorry for looking. She bowed. So Tamari, did you enjoy him? Ino teased. Actually, what little of him I got, yes, the San Kunoichi said, turning back to Naruto and winking. Naruto blushed harder. What about you, Naruto? Ino asked. Does Tamari make you feel good? She teased. Naruto looked at Tamari and then at Ino. I'm afraid to say anything. No matter what I can think to say, it ends in one or more of you hating me, hitting me and screaming at me in my head. I could never do something like that, Hinata said, blushing, not to you. Hinata. Naruto said. Well, we have no right to hit you or get angry, because you can have 4 wives. Sakura growled, obviously trying to play like she was okay with it. Well, enough talk of, let's get drunk. Tamari cheered. The rest of the day was a simple party of getting drunk, laughing, talking, sharing thoughts, nothing on relationships, of course, arguing who the better kunoichi is. Ino's thoughts. It was getting dark outside by the time they took notice to the time of the day, and Ino was a little buzzed. She paced herself as to not get plastered and left, vulnerable. Though she wanted to be vulnerable at times, she took the time spent with the others in the house to think about how she wanted someone to cuddle with at night in bed, and how she wanted to be loved, and to love back. But was Naruto even the right one for her? Along with 3 other wives. She was willing to experiment with the girls, but Naruto was once originally a target of her anger, or more so her parents' and friends' anger. But on the bright side, he was a nice guy at heart, who couldn't care about his own well-being as long as others are happy and safe. He could be really sweet, yet ignorant and idiotic. But it's so kawaii. She'd never tell anyone that though. Yet anyways. She would every few minutes glance over at him and watch the motions he made, and listen to the stories he told, which actually were kind of comical because most of them ended with Jiraiya in some sort of pain from his research. Ino thought about what that boy's done for the village. He's battled off Gaara's giant beast, and he'd been a major asset in defeating Akatsuki up until this point, and he saved the Sand Village's cage, which thus made the economic and allied friendship between the 2 nations stronger. So Ino, you've been quiet the last few hours, Tamari said. Oh, yeah, sorry, I was just thinking, Ino said. About what? You wanna bang Naruto? Tamari chuckled before taking a sip of her sake. Ino blushed. Shut up, she huffed. I'm thinking about the possibility of marrying him. Naruto blushed. I'm flattered, Ino, he said. It seems the only one left in denial of trying it is Sakura, Ino said. PFFT. Don't drag me into your relationship games, Sakura said, taking a sip of her sake. Hey Sakura, Temari said, you know Naruto loves you, right? Sakura blushed and her eyes widened slightly. Well, it is kind of obvious he has a crush on me, she said. Naruto looked at Sakura. It's not just a crush, he said. Sakura's interest seemed to get perked. We'll talk about this later. I'm tired, she said, putting her cup down, and she got up and walked into Naruto's room and got into bed. Naruto looked at the floor. Temari turned to him. Don't worry, she feels the same whether she'll admit it or not, she said. Well, I guess I'm going to go to sleep too. Ino yawned. Good night, Mina, too, Ino said, walking over to the couch and sprawling out on it. Naruto turned to Hinata, who was laying on the floor curled into a ball asleep. And he smiled, before getting up and going into the room and grabbing a blanket and pillow for her. Temari smiled. You really are a sweet guy, huh? She asked. Naruto smiled. Sweet is judged like beauty. In the eyes of the beholder, do you think I'm sweet? Naruto asked. Yes, Temari nodded, but I'm hope you have a naughty side too, just for fun, Temari winked. So I take it you made your decision? Naruto asked. Maybe. She teased again before standing up and grabbing his chin and kissing his cheek. I'm still thinking about it. Be patient, you have a week, she said before walking over to another couch and laying down on it. Naruto dug in the closet for 2 more blankets which he draped over Ino and Temari, before he went into the bedroom where Sakura was, and he got into bed and drifted to sleep. Tsunade was on top of the central building staring into the starry night sky, and she sighed, at a time I should be happy for Naruto, these feathers just ruin it, my gut never lies, and it's telling me something is up, she said to herself. Just then a certain something floated down in front of her face and her eyes widened and she snatched it before looking at it. Another red feather, she said, call DL. Naruto opened his eyes in bed and yawned as daylight broke through the window and into his room. The first thing he noticed was pressure on his chest like the weight of something, and he looked over to see Sakura with her head on his chest, cuddled up next to him tightly, with their legs intertwined. He blushed. Before smiling, she's really cute, he said to himself, and beautiful, before combing his fingers gently through her hair, causing a smile to cross her face. Naruto, Sakura said in her sleep, nuzzling her head into his chest. Naruto smiled again, before he kissed her on the forehead, something he never saw a problem with, unlike most people who claimed it was too big. Sakura's eye fluttered open and she looked to see she was on Naruto, and she gasped and shot up. What are you doing to me? She asked angrily. I didn't do anything, I woke up and you were laying on me, Naruto said, before looking down. I wouldn't make you do something you didn't want to. Great. Now Sakura felt bad for some reason. I'm sorry. I did overreact. It's okay. Everyone's a bit grumpy when they first wake up, Naruto said, before hopping out of bed. Well, bathroom time, he said before exiting the room. He walked into the living room, where the other 3 girls were still fast asleep, and he went into the bathroom and closed the door. Sakura got out of bed and walked out into the living room and looking over the 3 passed out girls. We really need beds in here today, she said. Okay ladies, wake up, she said loudly. Ino opened her eyes and lazily lifted her head to look at Sakura. Why do we have to get up? She asked, annoyed. Because you're too lazy as it is, and we need to get some sort of beds in here today along with our other things. We've already spent 2 nights and a day here and we don't have our stuff here yet, Sakura explained. Hinata sat up. So loud, she said groggily. Seriously, Temari said, sitting up. Can't a woman get her beauty sleep here? She yawned. Temari-chan, you're beautiful enough, Sakura said with a smile and a mock kind voice. Now get up already, she said seriously before walking towards the kitchen. Well, look at her. She's already exerting her motherly authority. Tamari chuckled and Sakura stopped halfway through her step and her eye twitched, as she blushed. Ino sneered at the reaction from her pink-haired friend. Oh yeah, she's getting ready to take care of Naruto's baby, taking the motherly figure, she added. Hinata blushed and looked away and Sakura snapped her head to Ino. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before she's laid out on a bed spreading her legs for Naruto to give her their child, Tamari said with a huge smile. Sakura's blush grew deeper. Shut up, she said. Oh, is it embarrassing talking about the time within the next week you'll be him? Tamari asked. Or are you just angry at us because we're competition? Competition for what? Naruto. PFFT please. That idiot. You can have him. I don't want him. Sakura said, turning around only to see Naruto standing there in the bathroom door with a blank face, hurt apparent in his eyes. Her heart sank when she saw him and her eyes widened, and Naruto. Don't worry about it. It's okay, Naruto said solemnly, walking past her into his room closing the door. Wow Sakura, that was pretty up, Ino said. How could you Sakura? Hinata said standing up and walking up to the door, and opening it to walk in, before closing it. Seriously, you do realize he loves you right? Tamari said crossing her arms, why'd you have to be such a stubborn bitch about it, when you know you feel the same? Right, we were only teasing you, Ino said. I know you feel the same, I can tell by the way you look at him, Tamari added. But he's an idiot. Sakura said looking away. You're just using that as an excuse, Ino said, all he wants is to make you happy, can't you give him a freaking chance? Well, it's too late now, Tamari said, he thinks you don't want to marry him at all now. Who are you two to say anything? You don't want to marry him either, Sakura said. When the hell did we say that? Tamari asked. We are at least giving him a chance. Yeah, even I'm considering it, sure he's a bit of an idiot, and we hated him as kids, but that's for a stupid beyond belief reason, which we've put behind us now, but you should know better than anyone that he's sweet, kind and not to mention a pretty good shinobi, despite the common notion, Ino said. What are you afraid of? Tamari asked. If you're waiting for Sasuke to come back you're wasting your life, he's never coming back, Ino said. It's not that, Sakura said. So what then Sakura? What driving force makes you so stubborn as to not even give him the time of the day to do anything for you? Tamari asked. When have you ever seen him do anything for himself directly? Ino asked. His dream to become Hokage, that's all he wants, Sakura said, not too strongly either. I said, for himself directly, Sakura, he wants to become Hokage to protect the people he loves, like you, which by the way, he must really love you if he still feels that way after tolerating your treatment of him for so long, Ino said. Sakura started tearing up slightly. Stop making it seem like I'm the bad guy, it's my choice if I don't want to be with him, she said. Yes you do want to be with him. Tamari said, but you either are just lying to us about it or you're afraid of something. Sakura sniffled and her tears built up more and she tried to hold them back. Stop, she said. No Sakura, why don't you admit you love him? You're denying it is going to ruin any chance you have of being truly happy, Ino said. Sakura, I heard you masturbating moaning his name in the bathroom yesterday morning, Tamari said, and if you don't at the very least try being with him you'll be left doing that the rest of your life. Really? You heard her masturbate? Ino was cut off when Tamari held her hand up signaling to shut up and now's not the time. Sakura dropped to her knees, and tears poured down her cheeks. I do love him. But I'm afraid he'll just leave me like Sasuke, she cried. I'd rather have a false and seemingly strained relationship with him rather than none at all. Ino walked over and knelt down next to Sakura and hugged her tightly. Sakura cried into her shoulder. Sakura, he wouldn't do something like that to you, or any of us. Minutes earlier, Hinata walked into the bedroom where Naruto was sitting cross-legged on the bed reading a scroll. She gulped, and Naruto, she said walking over, are you okay? She asked. Yeah, I'm fine, he said. He wasn't fine. Hinata already could deduct that. if that's the way she feels, it's okay, as long as she's happy. I'm sorry, Naruto. I know how you feel about her. Hinata said, and I feel the same about you, but I'd rather see you happy with Sakura than with me. Thanks, Hinata. You're sweet, he said, but if she doesn't want to marry me, that's fine, there are always others, right? Like Tamari, and Ino, and you, Naruto said. Hinata blushed. Do you even really want 4W wives? She asked. It's not my original intention, no, but for you girls I'll do it. He grinned. Can't say I would complain about it, he chuckled. Naruto-kun. Gulp. I really, love you. I always have since we were young, and I always will. Her heart started beating at higher speeds than Guy and Lee could run for their lives. She couldn't believe she just told him that. She started breathing heavily yet quietly. I'm sorry for being so stupid as to not notice your feelings sooner, Naruto said. It's okay. I'd have died saying that any time earlier in my life anyways, Hinata said. Naruto chuckled. But Naruto, don't be mad at Sakura-chan, she feels the same about you as you do towards her. Hinata said, I was mad she hurt your feelings, but she must have her reasons. I'm not mad at her. Don't worry, Naruto said. That's good, Hinata said. Let's go back out and you can talk to her. Okay. Naruto nodded, rolling up the scroll and putting it down before standing up and helping Hinata. Thank you, Hinata said. No problem. They walked up to the door and they heard Tamari, Ino and Sakura talking, and Naruto opened the door a little and looked outside to the living room and he saw Sakura drop to her knees crying. I do love him. But I'm afraid he'll just leave me like Sasuke, she cried. I'd rather have a false and seemingly strained relationship with him rather than none at all. Naruto's eyes widened. She was afraid I'd leave her. He said to himself. Ino walked over and knelt down next to Sakura and hugged her tightly. Sakura cried into her shoulder. Sakura, he wouldn't do something like that to you, or any of us. Sakura, go apologize to him and tell him how you feel, Tamari said. But he probably hates me now, Sakura said. Naruto opened the door all the way and walked out. I don't hate you, Sakura-chan. I was just disappointed, he said. Sakura pulled her head out from Ino's shoulder and looked at him. I'm so sorry, Naruto, for everything, she said. You never deserved any of it, she said, standing up and hugging him tightly. I love you so much, please forgive me. Naruto hugged her back. It's okay. I forgave you already anyways, I can't stay negative with you. Thank you, she said. Tsunade was walking through the streets of Konoha on her way towards Naruto's new house, and as she walked there was of course one thing stuck in her head, the feathers. She was irritated and she couldn't believe it either. I mean, aren't they just stupid feathers? Sure, they're red, but what's the harm in that? Well, that's what the Tsunade would like know. Why was she so damn uneasy about them? But the next thing to happen only made it worse as she walked past a booth and stopped in her tracks to see 4 red feathers hanging on display. Where did you get those? Tsunade asked the merchant. The feathers. I found them on the ground. Beautiful, aren't they? Would you like one, Miss Hokage? He asked. No. No thanks, I'll pass. I have something to be doing right now, Tsunade said before walking down the street. As she did, a customer came up and purchased one of the feathers. Naruto and Sakura were sitting on one of the couches, holding hands, while Hinata, Tamari and Ino sat in a chair or on the other couch. So why don't you two kiss already? Ino asked. Yeah, she just admitted her feelings for you, so take advantage of the opportunity to kiss her, Tamari said. Sakura blushed and looked at Naruto, who shrugged. It's your call, he said. No, there is no allowing, you just do it, Ino said. Sakura turned back to Naruto, and started moving their faces closer slowly. Naruto did the same. Naruto just thought, fuck it, and pressed his lips to hers, and started sucking on her upper lip, while she sucked on his lower lip. Sakura moaned slightly into the kiss. Hinata looked on. Oh, how she wanted to kiss him like that. They pulled apart. Ding ding ding. It finally happened, Ino said. and it only took 4 years, not counting the time in the academy. Well, did you enjoy it? Tamari asked. Did it feel perfect? Ino asked. Yes, Sakura said with a blush and a smile, looking down. You're a really good kisser, Sakura, Naruto said, and your lips are soft too. Thanks, Sakura said. Just then someone knocked at the door. I'll get it, Hinata said, standing up and walking over to the front door and opening it. Hey there, Hinata, Tsunade greeted. Can I come in? Hello. Of course, come on in, Hinata said, stepping out of the way, and Tsunade walked in and kicked off her shoes, while Hinata closed the door. They walked from the foyer into the living room. I'll get some tea, Hinata said, going into the kitchen. Oh hey Granny, Naruto greeted. You really gotta stop calling me that, Tsunade said. Why? You may look young but you're old, like Uold, Naruto said. Tsunade's eye twitched. Sakura slapped her hands over Naruto's mouth. He was just kidding, Shisho, she grinned. He'd better be, Tsunade said, before sitting down on a pillow at the circular table in the middle of the living room. So how is Operation Matchmaking coming along? Well, Sakura and Naruto are together now, Hinata said as the tea became ready, and she poured a cup for everyone and carried them on platter into the living room before putting it down on the table. Yep. In fact, they kissed for the first time not 5 minutes ago, Tamari added. Oh really? Was wondering when that was gonna happen, Tsunade said. Oh, and by the way, Tenten will be back tomorrow and will be joining you. I don't think she'll want to stay. She has feeling for my cousin, Hinata said, handing Tsunade a cup. Thank you, that's what I figured, which is why I wasn't too concerned about her not being here, Tsunade said. You should consider marrying Hinata, she'd make a good wife and mother. Hinata blushed furiously as she handed the cups to everyone. So what did you want, master? Sakura asked. Well, just to check how the relationships were coming along so far, and to tell you about Tenten and that I'm making it mandatory for Naruto to spend one-on-one time with each girl. Mandatory? Hinata asked. Yeah, you need to get more on a personal level, Tsunade said. How's that going? Well, we're all considering it, Ino said. Not to change the subject, but you don't seem like yourself, is something wrong? Sakura asked. It's probably nothing, the Hokage said. Then tell us, Tamari said. Tsunade looked over the Chunnin and Genin, poor Naruto, one Jonin, and decided she might as well tell them, so she dug inside the collar of her shirt and pulled out the red feather. These. Oh, I found one of those on the ground and gave it to Sakura, Naruto said. Yeah, I noticed it when she was wearing it. I don't know what, I don't know how, but there's something up with these things, Tsunade said. But they're just feathers, Sakura said. What's so bad about feathers? Sakura, have you ever seen a bird that even came close to this color before? Honestly, Tsunade said, and the researchers found nothing. Well, I can have some people at Sand look into it, see if they can find anything out, Tamari said. Well, if it's not too much trouble for a simple feather. Tsunade said. It's okay. Gaara assigned me and Kankuro assistants, Tamari said. I'll have them look into it. I'll send the message now, she said, getting up. Oh, I'll need the feather so they can have an idea of what they're looking information up for, Tamari said. Right. Here you go, Tsunade said, handing her the feather. Tamari slipped on her shoes, and exited the house. A couple of hours later, Naruto was in the backyard of the house with Hinata. The blonde teen laid the Shintengen scroll out on the ground, before forming the tiger hand sign, and following the scroll's instructions, which were clearing his mind of all distractions, and focusing high amounts chakra into your pupils, while focusing lesser amounts of chakra in a spinning pattern around his eyes. He closed his eyes and focused his chakra to his pupils and spun chakra around his eyes. He opened his eyes and they instantly turned a dark blue, and his pupils turned into diamonds, and 4 more diamonds appeared in a box pattern around the pupils while pointing towards them. Whoa, Naruto said. Everything he saw was dulled out, and the colors were brought almost to the point of black and white, and he looked over to Hinata and she was covered in a blue aura, to where there was no other color present on her, and Naruto noticed she had a blue outline, not only that it was shaking and vibrating slightly. Well, what's it like? Hinata asked. I don't know, it's hard to explain. I can see your soul, at least. I think that's your soul, it's like a blue field of light surrounding you, he said, before looking over himself, and his hands. He saw he had both a blue aura and a red aura. But they didn't mix into a purple like you'd think. He had an outline too, actually he had two, one red and one blue, both vibrating and shaking, slightly more than Hinata's outline. I wonder why I have blue and red, is it the Kyuubi's? Maybe that's his soul and mine emitting from me, Naruto said. Possibly, Hinata said. Naruto turned to his left and when he did someone was inches from his face, their blue light scaring him. Ah! She yelped and jumped back. Yo lady, don't sneak up on me like that, he said to the elderly woman, then realized she didn't have an outline. Oh, I apologize, the woman said with a chuckle. Naruto? Hinata asked with concern in her voice. Yeah, what it is, Hinata? Naruto turned to her. Why did you scream and who are you talking to? Hinata asked. What are you talking about? The old lady here, she scared the crap out of me, Naruto said. Naruto, there's no body there. Hinata said. I'm looking right at her, Naruto said. He was in fact staring right at the elderly lady, but the thing is, only he saw her. Lad, your friend can't see me, she said, but you can for some reason. Oh wait, I get it, you're a ghost, Naruto said. Yes, but we prefer to be called spirits, the lady said. Oh sorry, Naruto said. It's quite alright, the lady said. One question. Why don't you have an outline? Naruto asked. An outline? The lady asked. I don't know what you're talking about, I've been like this since I died 3 weeks ago. Hinata knew now what was going on and knowing she was out of her league she stayed quiet. Naruto knelt down and looked over the scroll about the fine details of the shinten and the significance of what he's seeing. Here we go, Naruto said, finding what he was looking for before reading out loud. The features of a living soul are different than that of a deceased soul. The outline, known as the soul seal, one will see while looking at someone or some animal that is alive as the spectral judge of how close the person, animal is to death at that current time. The calmer the soul seal and the less it shakes, the farther you are from death. The more violent reacting seals will indicate a person, animal that is near death. When death ensues, the outline shatters and the soul is no longer bound to the body by it, thus is the reason wandering, free spirits, have no soul seal. Just who are you, boy? I didn't know the living could see us dead folk, the lady asked. Well, I found out about these, Naruto said, pointing to his eyes. I have a Kekkei Genkai called the Shinten. It lets me see and communicate with spirits. I think I've heard of that somewhere, but I can't say for sure, the woman said. Naruto. Hinata. Lunchtime, Sakura called from the window. Food. Naruto said. Well, if you'll excuse us, he said. Well, it's okay, because I wander the house and its property. I'm a spirit, it's all I do, she chuckled. Wait a minute, were you the person that lived here before us? Naruto asked. Yes, this was once my home. I don't mind you living here. You have a lot of girls after you though, my boy. The lady said. By the way, what's your name? Naruto asked. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, and that's Hyuga Hinata. My name is Miryu. Pleasure to meet you, she said. Later that night, after everyone moved the proper stuff into the house, Ino was sitting on the back porch looking at the starry sky, when she heard the back door slide open, and she turned to see Naruto walk out. Hey, why you out here by yourself, Ino? He asked, sitting down next to her. Oh, I was just enjoying the night, getting some fresh air, Ino answered. Hey Ino, when we were moving the stuff back into the house, I stopped by your flower shop and bought some seeds to plant in the backyard. I know you like tending for them, at least that's what your mom told me. Yeah, I like working at the flower shop here and there. It's a way to make money when there's no missions going around, she said. Well, here, Naruto said, pulling out a couple of bags. Plant them wherever you want tomorrow, and if you teach me, I'll help you take care of them. Thanks. Okay. You got a deal, me and you can take care of the garden, Ino said with smile, before hugging him, and he hugged her back. Hey Naruto, now that I got my own room in the house, would you stay with me tonight? I know you and Sakura have been sharing a bed, but I want to spend so time with you too, she whispered. Naruto blushed. Oh okay, if you want me to, he said. Thanks, I wanna cuddle with you. Ino said. Well let's go inside for now, Naruto said. Okay. Ino said and they got up and walked inside where Sakura and Temari were drinking some sake. Where'd Hinata go? Naruto asked. She went to bed so she could get up early for training, Sakura said. Oh okay, Naruto said. Okay Sakura one more round, Temari said. It's 3-3, once we break this tie I'm hitting the sack. Alright, Sakura said pouring one more full cup of sake and 2 cups totally not meant for sake but tea, which they both clanked together in a toasting fashion before down the beverages. They guzzled it until Temari finished and put it down. Ah I win, she said. Sakura finished hers. Damn, she said putting the cup down. Well ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bed, good night, Temari said standing up and walking to the stairs and going up them halfway before stopping and looking down to Naruto. Tomorrow me and you and spending some time together okay? She said. Heh heh okay, Naruto chuckled. Well, then come on Naruto let's go to bed now, Ino said tugging on Naruto's arm slightly. What about bed? Sakura asked raising an eyebrow. Stop being jealous Sakura, we have a right to see if we will marry him, Ino said. I'm not going to him so don't worry. It's not that, it's just the first night me and Naruto are officially a couple I wanted to cuddle up with him tonight, Sakura said. You can come with us, Ino said. I don't mind that, my futon's big enough. If Ino's okay with it come on Sakura, we can all spend the night together, Naruto said. Oh okay. Sakura nodded, and they headed upstairs into the room Ino chose and they got under the covers of her bed with Naruto in between them. Sakura had her head laying on his left shoulder and pressed tightly up against his side, while Ino had her arm around him with her leg intertwined with his, and she rested her head on his arm which was around her shoulders. Ino kissed Naruto on the neck and then on the cheek before once on the lips. Night, she said tiredly. Good night, Naruto said before turning to Sakura, who pressed her lips to his. See you tomorrow, the pink-haired girl said. Naruto was laying in bed early in the morning, it was still dark outside, when all of a sudden he was forced awake when his eyes shot open and the shinten activated by itself. Naruto sat up silently, as to not wake up Ino and Sakura who were still asleep. The blonde boy looked around the room. Why the hell did this thing activate on its own? In the middle of the night, no less, he said. Just then his eyes burned with pain and cupped his hands over them and hissed silently, damn, what the hell? He said trying to stay quiet still. He opened his eyes again, still with the shinten activated and when he did he saw a small red light, but the thing is, he pat his hand on the ground and felt nothing and the light was still shining. What in the? He said standing up and walking out of the room into the hall and he looked back at the say area, he could still see the light through the wall. He went downstairs still looking at the direction of the red light, it was like it was being shined through the walls and floors, and as he went down the stairs he noticed it seemed to be at his level now, so he walked towards it and realized it was in his room. He walked in and saw the red feather he gave Sakura lying on his desk, it was emitting the eerie red light, the feather. He said and he grabbed it and picked it up but the second he did, the light faded. He scratched the back of his head. Weird, he said, was that some sort of residual energy from the bird's soul? Naruto-kun. He heard Ino and he turned to see the blonde girl standing in the living room. What are you doing? She asked tiredly. Oh, I'm sorry Ino. I just kind of woke up and decided to get a glass of water, but then I remember the feather thing. He lied. Here, let's go back to bed, Naruto said putting the feather down and walking into the living room then the kitchen, before getting a glass of water. Ready? Ino asked. Yeah, let's go, Naruto said, and the two of them made their way back up to the bedroom. But within the visual spectrum of the shinten, the feather lit up once again with its red light. In the normal spectrum, the feather turned into a red liquid, yet still retained its feather shape, before it floated up off the desk and flew into the glass of the window, and the red liquid broke apart and seeped through the cracks pf the window, before reforming back into a feather of the liquid, and flying high into the air out of sight from anyone who could have seen it, and headed due west from Konoha. All over Konoha, and other villages outside of Konoha, the red feathers turned to blood, still retaining their shape, floated up and headed west as well. Within the wind country, smaller villages near the eastern border of river and even a couple feathers rose from where they sat, turned to the red liquid and flew out of the villages, heading north. In other smaller villages throughout the continent, the feathers rose and swarmed to the same spot. Elsewhere, the hundreds of feathers swarmed a tall and sheer rocky mountain peak, where about 3/4 the way to the tip, they all flew into a cave at rippling speeds, like a swarm of locusts. The feathers snaked their way through the cave and came to a large internal chasm which seemed to be like an ancient shrine, with a tall stone pedestal in the center of 4-cylinder rock columns that had old seal markings on them. The pedestal itself had multiple eccentric seal markings all over it, and the feathers flew around the pedestal like a tornado, consuming the rock completely. Red electricity started piercing past the feathers and hit the walls and columns, lighting the seals on them up with a red light, before the tornado of feathers became more dense as it compacted around the center pedestal, and in a flash of red light, the feathers stopped spinning around and most of them were gone. Well, actually they were now positioned above the pedestal almost in a sphere, as some remaining feathers flipped around in the air and floated to the ground slowly around the figure. The sphere opened, revealing it was not a sphere but a man, with two huge, red angel wings, but here's the catch, they were still liquid. The man had long spiky red hair with 3 bangs hanging in front of his face. He wore all black, a long black jacket with silver trim that went halfway down his calves, black boots, black pants, and a black undershirt. He also had a coin on a chain hanging from his neck. The man opened his eyes, revealing blood-red irises with slits for pupils going through them, but they weren't vertical, they were going horizontally. He looked around and then looked at his hands, which he had tight black gloves on, and he clenched his fists before looking forward. I've awoken finally, the ritual is complete, he said to himself, before lowering himself to the ground in front of the pedestal, and he turned back to it and smirked. So number 1 will be able to do it ever again, he said before slamming his fist into the rock pedestal, smashing it into hundreds of pieces, and he smiled before turning around and walking through the cave. As he did so, he scratched his left shoulder. I still don't know enough about this modern world, my feathers didn't gather as much information as I had hoped, he said. He extended his wings of red liquid feathers and flipped them once, lifting him off the ground, and he moved out over the ledge a little and looked down. It was too dark and too high to see anything. He got another itch in the same spot on top of his shoulder and scratched it again. Well, I wonder how much of my powers diminished over these last 10-15 years of hibernation, he said before, swiping his right arm behind him without looking, and a mountaintop to his 5 o'clock, looked like someone slashed a horizontal line through it with a sword, and it slid off of the top a little before it shined with red energy and electricity before being disintegrated. The man looked at his hand. Yep. I'm weak, he said. He stopped flapping his wings and let himself plummet down to the bottom of the mountain, the cold air smashing against him, and as he fell he took a deep breath and exhaled. Ah, it's good to be awake again, he said. I've forgotten what the sensations of life feel like. As he fell from the sky and approached the bottom, he flapped his wings one more time, slowing himself inches above the ground, and he landed, being forced into a crouch. He stretched his wings out in front of himself and looked them over. Seems I have to relearn how to use these. That landing wasn't so great, he said before folding his wings behind his back and walking forward through the brush. I need to get my energy and power back, and there's only one way to do that, he said. Then he saw a few lights in the distance through the brush, and he walked towards them. Eventually he got behind a tree and looked to see a merchant's caravan camped out for the night, on a path, with 4 rain ninja awake and on guard of it. The man grinned evilly, revealing 4 fang-like teeth on the sides of his jaw, 2 on the top and bottom. How convenient. God must have forsaken the world in the time I slept. Hehehehe. He chuckled silently to himself before stepping away from the tree, and his wings broke from their wing shape and the red liquid pulled back into 2 vertical slits on his shoulder blades, and he stepped forward through the brush with his hands in his jacket pockets. The 4 rain ninja on guard shot to their feet as he came from the brush and walked towards the caravan. The ninja ran to intercept. Hey you, state your business here or die, one of the ninjas said. The man smiled and kept walking forward. The 4 rain shinobi surrounded him, drawing their kunai, and he frowned. What? A guy can't pass through the road, he said. Regardless, get lost or you're gonna die, a female ninja said. I'll give you until the count of 3 to step out of my way, or you are the ones that are going to die, the man said nonchalantly with a smile. The rain ninja scoffed and readied himself. You dare threaten me? He said, before swiping his kunai at the man, who grinned and jabbed his hand through his chest and out his back, holding his still beating heart. The shinobi stopped halfway through his attack. The rain ninja stopped and looked down at the man's arm before the man crushed his heart like a tomato, and he pulled his arm out, letting the ninja fall dead on the ground. Why, you bastard, the female ninja said, pulling out an umbrella on her back, and she opened it and got ready to throw it into the air. But just then the man's left wing blasted out and took shape, and in doing so impaling her through the body. She dropped her umbrella and hacked up blood. WW, what the hell? Another rain ninja said. AW wing of, B blood. He stammered, backing away. The female ninja started to wither to skin and bones, and the wing seemed like it was pumping something out of her. Ah, hehehe, blood, the source of power and life, the man said before pulling his wind free from the withered and dead kunoichi, who dropped to the ground. The other 2 remaining rain ninja turned around and screamed as they ran away. The man whipped his head to them. Oh no 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 no, there is no picking a fight with the blood angel and running away, he said before holding out his fist towards them and whipping open his fingers, and in doing so both men's arms and legs were severed from their bodies, blood flying out as they screamed in agony. Then before the men could hit the ground, the black-garbed man quickly clinched his fist and the men's bodies were sliced to dozens of pieces. People ran out of their tents and from the wagons of the caravan and saw the rain ninja hired to protect them, dead and slaughtered. Oh my god! A woman screamed. He killed them. Nigeto, 1. Everyone screamed and started scrambling. The man grinned evilly. Yes, that's right. My presence creates fear. That fear creates chaos and panic, and in chaos, I thrive, he said evilly before flapping his wings and launching himself out at one of the merchants from behind, and grabbing high head, slamming him to the ground, and the man screamed as he started to twitch and wither like the kunoichi. The merchant ceased his movement and twitching. The black-garbed murderer rose up before dashing at his next victim. Naruto was awoken when Sakura shook him, and he turned to see her out of bed on her knees. Come on, time to get up, she said. Oh okay. Naruto yawned, sitting up. Where's Ino? She's already taking a bath. Breakfast is almost ready, so get up, Sakura said. What time is it? Naruto asked as he stood up. Almost 7:10 in the morning, Sakura said as they exited the room. They entered the hall and Sakura leaned over and kissed him on the lips. Tamari was sitting at the table in the living room drinking some tea while Hinata was cooking breakfast, humming happily to herself. She enjoyed cooking, and now that she had a possible husband and wives to do it for, she enjoyed even more. Sakura and Naruto walked into the living room and sat down on the couch. Good morning, ladies, Naruto greeted. Morning, Tamari greeted, and Hinata blushed slightly. Good morning, did you two sleep well? She asked. Like a log, Sakura chuckled. Yeah, same here, Naruto lied. He didn't want to worry them about anything, he didn't even think too much of it himself, he didn't even fully understand the shinten anyways. So Naruto, did you have a threesome last night? Tamari asked with a smirk. Naruto and Sakura blushed, and no. They stuttered in unison. I wish we had a threesome, they heard, and Ino walked into the living room dressed and clean, plopping down on the couch on the other side of Naruto. Why you do? Naruto and Sakura asked. While you guys are stuttering at the same time, that's great, Ino chuckled, and I don't know, maybe I'm serious, maybe not. Tease. Naruto said. I know. Ino grinned. So Naruto, what do you want to do today? Temari asked. I don't know, whatever you're up for I guess, Naruto shrugged. Don't give her that much leeway, Sakura said. Temari grinned. Afraid I'll him before you? She asked. Sakura narrowed her eyes at Temari. Okay, breakfast is ready, Hinata announced, carrying out a platter of food which she put on the table. Back with the merchant caravan, the red-haired man held a merchant up by his face while he kicked and flailed to get free, gripping the man's arm, as he withered more and more. Stop. Place, the man begged, and seconds later he went limp, and was dropped to the ground. Around the entire caravan, lay a sloth of dead bodies, women, men, children, and blood panted the sides of the wagons. The horses ran off and only one man remained. The surviving man was sitting on the ground, with his back to a wagon's side, shaking with fear. The attacker walked over to him and grabbed his neck before picking him up off the ground. Now, listen well. In exchange for your life, tell me, what is the greatest military power you know of? He asked. Gaghuff. The man choked. What? The black-garbed man asked in confusion. Garg. The man choked, holding his attacker's arm. What the air you trying to say, mortal? The man asked. The choking man gurgled and pointed to his throat, which the man had a tight grip on. Oh shit. The man said, letting go of his throat and instantly grabbing the collar of his shirt, still holding him in the air. Now speak. The merchant gasped for breath. K Konoha, he coughed. What? Konoha. Konohagakure no Sato, of Hai no Kuni, the merchant coked. The black-garbed man raised an eyebrow. If the language structure is the same as it was 1,000 years ago, did you just say the Hidden Leaf Village of the Fire Country? He asked. Yes, the merchant panted. Who the name's the greatest military power? The Hidden Leaf Village. What connection to power does a leaf have? The man talked to himself, before scratching the annoying itch on his left shoulder again. I don't know, but that's the strongest military power in the world. The merchant panted. Where is it? The red-haired man asked. From here it's almost exactly due east, about a 3-day travel from here, the merchant said. Not when you have wings, my friend, the man replied, before once again scratching an itch on his shoulder, and her growled. Rrrrrr. He ripped a chunk of his shoulder's flesh clean off and whipped his wrist, flicking away the flesh, but held a pink strand of hair in his fingers. The merchant's jaw dropped when he saw this. The man dropped the merchant and looked at the hair with one eye as to focus on it, a pink hair. He asked himself, then a look of realization his face. Oh, right, that boy stuck one of my feathers in that girl's hair, he growled as the flesh on his shoulder grew back, and the wound was gone. Not to interrupt, but what are you gonna do with me? The merchant asked fearfully. Oh, right, you. I'm a demon of my word, you may live, he said. Just then he grinned, and I'm even feeling a bit generous tonight, seeing how this is the beginning of a new age. What? If you pledge your eternal loyalty to me and me alone, I will grant you power beyond your wildest dreams, the man said. What's the catch? The merchant asked. The catch? Well, I told you, eternal loyalty to me, he said. I punish those who oppose me and reward those who are loyal, he said, digging in his jacket before pulling out a small glass vial of blood. What is that? This is something I put together before I went into hibernation. Tell me, have you ever heard of the Biju? He asked. Yes, the 9 multi-tailed demons. Well, you see, I had the privilege of witnessing their battle 1,000 years ago, and of course there was much bloodshed between each other, and I collected that blood, and mixed it with other demons' blood, which, by the way, was much easier back when demons were still walking in this world, he explained. In it lied the blood of all the Biju, mixed with 3 different demons' blood. You drink this and you'll obtain the powers of a demon. I'm not sure I trust you. Trust me or not, If you don't drink it, I'll just kill you here and now, but I'm offering you power and a high place in the army I will soon rule, the man said. Deal, the merchant said. The black-garbed mont's hand lit up with red chakra and consumed the vial, before fading, and he popped the lid off the top with his thumb. Now before we start, what is your name? Zuriko, the merchant said. Not too befitting of a demon, your new name will be Narunia, he instructed, the name of the demon in which I got most of that blood from, a strong demon at that. I'm honored, Zuriko said. Now drink. Zuriko grabbed the vial and downed it, then looked at the man. So what now? I don't feel any stronger. The red-haired murderer started chuckling as he turned to walk away. Just then Zuriko's veins all bulged throughout his body and he dropped to his knees. Ah! He screamed as his eyes went blood red, and red chakra emitted from, and blasted out a strong pressure wave, knocking over the wagons. Hey 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 ha ha ha. The man laughed as he walked away, and now it all begins. Tsunade sat in her office drumming her fingers on the desk. For once she had all her paperwork done, she was desperate for something to take her mind off the feathers, so she basically outworked her work. Great. Tsunade grumbled. Just then the door cracked open and Shizune peeked her head in. Tsunade-sama. Suna replied. She said, stepping into the room. Really? What did they say? Did they find anything? She asked. Yes. Here. Shizune said, handing Tsunade a scroll that a bird could carry, and she opened it, and on T was a seal, and she placed her finger in it. Kai. She said, and in a poof of smoke appeared a book, wrapped in brown cloth, and 2 strings. Tsunade untied the vertical string, then the horizontal string, and pulled the cover off of the book, revealing an old hardback book, that was brown, with black and red trim around it. Its cover had illustration of a skeleton with red angel wings, rising from what looked like a hole to hell with fire shooting from it. What the hell? Tsunade said. Unfortunately the feather is gone. The bird may have dropped it on its way here, Shizune said. Tsunade opened the old book and read the first line. From the darkest shadow, from the crimson rivers, from the soul of the demons, rises the angel of blood, she recited. What's that supposed to mean? Shizune asked. I don't know yet, Tsunade said before reading more. Long ago there were brothers, both skilled in the art of the blade, but one was always superior to his younger brother, a year's worth of experience separating the two. For years the younger brother lived in the shadow of his elder brother, and jealousy drove him to abandon his family and all he knew, before he wandered the lands fighting all warriors he encountered, and slaying them all. He fought and fought to get better than his elder brother. In his journeys the younger brother was caught in a fierce storm and was forced to take shelter in the confines of an ancient demon temple, where he was ambushed by the creatures of the underworld. For hours he fought demon after demon, slaying them one after another, and after a long bloody battle the warrior collapsed in the center of the temple, exhausted and beaten nearly to death. 2 huge gashes in his back, wounds scattered across his body, blood pouring to the floor beneath him. Accepting he would not survive, the warrior lay on his back awaiting his end, dreading how he would never slay his brother, when the blood of the demons he defeated seeped into the seals on the floor, mixing with his own blood in the center. The seals released a small flash of light, and then lightning was drawn to the temple, striking it, and the electricity was pulled into the seals and blood. Soon the warrior was engulfed in light and pain as the blood of the demons and electricity surrounding him forced its way into his body through his open wounds. Angel wings of pure blood sprouted from the gashes on his back, and with this the warrior was no longer just a human, but demon. This sound more like a story than a document, Shizune said. True, Tsunade said, then noticing a note that was on the scroll, she picked up the paper and it read, "We apologize if this isn't what you are looking for, but it is the closest thing to red feathers we found, but it's only based off of a legend. Hopefully it helps somehow. We'll be in touch should something else come up, Gara." HHM. Shizune, no one is to disturb me. I'm going to read this entire book if I have to, Tsunade said. Yes ma'am, Shizune said, exiting the room, and Tsunade continued reading. Okay. I'm ready, Naruto, Tamari said. Alright. Naruto said, before turning to Sakura. Well, I gotta go. He kissed her. Bye. If she tries anything, tell me, I'll break her face in, Sakura said. She won't, Naruto said before turning to Hinata and Ino. See ya later, Ino said. Bye. Have fun, Hinata said. Naruto walked over to Tamari, who was at the front door. Let's go, he said. With that, Tamari and him exited the house. Well, I got some really early training in this morning, but now that I got a full belly, I'll be able to go seriously, Hinata said. Do either of you wanna join me? She asked. No, I'll pass, this is my paid vacation, Ino said. I'll pass, Sakura said. Okay, Hinata said before going out to the backyard. I think I'll plant those seeds Naruto gave me, Ino said, standing up from the couch and walking up the stairs to her room to get the seeds and gloves ECT. Sakura watched her and stood up before following after her. Yuri content. Skip to end if desired. Sakura went upstairs to Ino's room and went in, where the blonde girl was looking for her gloves. Ino. Sakura said. What is it? Ino asked as she reached up to the shelf in her closet and pulled out her gloves. Aha, she said. Well, I've actually been thinking about this a lot. Sakura said. Well, what is it? Ino asked again. Well, tell me if you really want to be with Naruto or not, Sakura asked. Of course, so far there's nothing telling me not to, Ino said. Good, then that more than likely means you'll be marrying him too, which means, you're marrying me, and maybe even Tamari and Hinata. So we are going to have to love each other, Sakura gulped, blushing. Where exactly are you going with this, Sakura? Ino asked, raising an eyebrow. Well, to tell the truth, I've always had a special place in my heart for YU. Ino, Sakura said, and I was thinking we should connect and, explore each other. Ino smirked, and tossed the seeds and gloves onto her desk. What do you mean by, explore? She asked, getting inches away from Sakura, who was blushing fiercely. I'm not exactly sure, she stammered. Ino wrapped her arms around Sakura. Like this? She asked hotly before licking Sakura's neck, and then kissing it. I knew, Sakura gasped. Ino got close to Sakura's ear. I've always had a special place for you too, Sakura. I was serious about that threesome earlier, she whispered. It would have been so hot, she said in her ear, sending shivers up Sakura's spine. The pink-haired girl slowly wrapped her arms around Ino. Ino smiled and kissed her on the lips, sliding her tongue in. Sakura's eyes hazed over and she closed them and played with Ino's tongue. Ino's face turned a light shade of pink, and she started running her hands up and down Sakura's body, feeling her form, before bring her left hand up to Sakura's right and massaging it gently. Sakura moaned into their kiss. Ino slid her hand under Sakura's shirt and grabbed her, before she began kneading it. She broke the kiss and started sucking on Sakura's shoulder. Ah! Sakura moaned. Ino pushed Sakura onto the bed and pulled off her shirt before licking her erect nipples, and nibbling them. Ino. Ooh. Sakura was going wild. She never knew Ino could turn her on like this. Ino slipped a hand between Sakura's legs and rubbed her through her shorts. Sakura hummed, pumping her hips. Ino stopped sucking on Sakura's nipples and trailed kisses down to her navel before she pulled off the shorts and panties underneath them. Ino went spread Sakura's legs and licked the inside of her thighs, up and down on both sides. Ino put her finger on Sakura's clit and started rubbing it in circles, while she licked Sakura's thighs. Ino, Sakura moaned deeply. Sensitive and really wet. That's hot, Ino purred, before she went down and started sucking on her clit, and playing with it with her tongue. Sakura grabbed Ino's head and pumped and rolled her hips. Moto too, Moto, she moaned. Damn Sakura, you're so horny right now, Ino said, sliding a finger into her while she continued to lick the clit. I didn't know you could do this to me so good, Sakura said. Ino smiled and parted Sakura's clit before licking the inside up and down, twisting her tongue, intensifying the pleasure she was giving, and God, she was so horny herself. she couldn't take it anymore, so she slid her hand under her shorts and skirt and started fingering herself. Sakura saw Ino and sat up, pushing Ino to her back, and getting on top of her in a 69 position, before she pulled Ino's shorts off and moved the skirt out of the way and began licking at her clit. Ino gasped and moaned before she started fingering and licking Sakura's again. Sakura pumped her hips back into it, but she never stopped licking Ino's. Ino began pumping her hips too, as Sakura slid a finger into her, moving it around everywhere. Ino's face was getting covered in Sakura's juices, as it leaked out. Both girls were moaning loudly. Ino could feel Sakura's tightening every second, and she was close to an orgasm. Ino dived her tongue deep into the pink-haired girls and twisted it around. Sakura whipped her head back, anew. She cried, as her exploded with pleasure that rippled through her spine, and cum leaked out covering Ino's face and her own thighs. Ino licked her mouth and lips clean. You taste really good, did that feel good? She asked. Yes, so good, Sakura panted before climbing off of Ino and bedding between her legs, but you didn't cum, did you? Ino shook her head. Okay, Ino said before she started licking Ino's clit. Ino arched her back and moaned, digging her fingers into the blanket. It felt better now that she didn't have to do anything. Ah, Sakura. Sakura grabbed Ino's hips and dug her tongue as deep as possible, while she rubbed her clit with her thumb. Sakura, I'm coming. Ino moaned. Sakura sped up her motions and within seconds Ino came, and cum dripping and leaked out of her onto the bed. They laid there side to side before kissing. Did you enjoy exploring? Ino asked. Yeah. Sakura nodded.